Hello, boys and girls. I figure I'd change this since this is kind of be the let's call it the video right before the final assembly, or actually this is going to be part of the final assembly video, and then we'll have the final reveal. It'll all be in one. This is for the chip foose 65 Impala. Remember, this is a rebuild. I started this, I can't even remember. I have to really go back and look through the archives and see. I believe it might have been even 4 years ago. It's been quite a while. But anyways, so the first attempt, we got pretty much everything to work, but the paint job got completely botched. And the more I tried to fix it, the worse it got. And I kept layering stuff over it and layering over it, and then finally realized I just got to stop, and I'm gonna have to strip the body. Well, I don't have anything really, I've tried all the DIYs, the brake fluid, the purple pond, and none of that. It works on some stuff really well. I don't want to say it doesn't work, but some stuff it does work good, and some things it doesn't. And if you remember, we did the viewer's choice build, which that's one that we still have to finish. I will do a video, probably about a 10 or 15 minute video of that when it's done, because that was one that you all picked out of I think we had 2 or 3 possibilities we could do. Maybe it was 4, I can't remember. But I owe that to you guys, the ones that's been here from the beginning and until the end, which is coming up pretty quick. It's still a sad, sour taste in my mouth, I guess. I truly don't want to stop, guys, but it's just one of those things that it needs to be. And I think by doing a podcast, my channel and a couple other gentlemen's channels can kind of evolve into what we really like the most out of the hobby. Not just building, but we like to talk. You guys, take a second and run down memory lane. When you were a kid, you first started building model cars. You were hanging out with your buddies, on a rainy day, because I'm a latchkey kid. The only time I really got to stay in the house is if it was too cold, pouring down rain, thunderstorms. Light rain was no excuse to stay inside. But a heavy rain, thunder, lightning, of course, and bitter cold. And unfortunately, I spent a lot of my time in Georgia, and winter was far few and in between down there. So, as you can imagine, we spent a lot of time outside. So, my model building was maybe a little bit in the evening hours, after I got my homework done after school. And of course, there was always a good chance on a weekend that we would get to stay in. But the key thing was I had 2 or 3 friends in the neighborhood that enjoyed model cars as well. And we all got together, and if we couldn't be in so-and-so's house, maybe we can be in so-and-so's garage or out on their back porch, whatever it was. We'd hang out and we'd build model cars. And we'd sit around and talk. Hey man, did you see that, 69 Camaro so-and-so has down around the corner? Man, I got to look at it. Just imagine that. That's what we like. This will be a group effort, so to speak. Some behind-the-scenes stuff of people that have kind of come on board with it. Reviews on the comments. Nothing that I didn't expect. So I'm hoping that over these next couple of videos, until this portion of my journey on YouTube is done, and we might start the new journey via a podcast. And just to recap on that real quick, this podcast I think would be different than all the others. All the other ones are great. I like watching them. I get to hear their voices where you normally you're texting. Oh man, that looks great. Love that color. The stance is great. That's all good and fine. But when you actually start hearing somebody's voice and a face to go with that voice, and then maybe you're texting back and forth and you're communicating. That's how friendships evolve. And I know a lot of guys that watch my channel are, late 50s into their 70s. And that's really cool. I didn't think I would touch that. There's a word for it, but I can't think of it. Demographic, I guess, is the word, of people. I thought I would be not touching, but reaching out and informating or giving information to younger generation, which was my goal. I've always wanted to promote the hobby, get people involved, and get youth involved, because after all, that is going to be the next generations of YouTubers, Instagrammers, Facebook people, model club members, contestants in shows. That's where it all lies, guys. And if we keep segregating ourselves and not recognizing what is to come, not just in products. Everybody knows products are going to evolve and equipment's going to evolve, but none of that means nothing if we don't have somebody to use it. And I trust me, if it wasn't private, I would share all the emails that I get, and I get a lot of, hey, I really thought about modeling, but people told me to watch YouTube, and I don't like what I see. I have enough drama in my life. I'm not interested in all that stuff, because I'm just starting off, and I want to know the basics, and how to use this, how to do that. What kit should I buy? What kit should I stay away from? And there, when I came on here a few years ago, that was relevant and going on, and now that's kind of fizzled out and faded away, and that's where a lot of my aggravation has come from. And I've got swept up in the old YouTube universe, and had sponsors, and not that I acted better than I was or better than anybody else. I didn't have shit. If you're going to compare apples to oranges, I had a good friend, Ryan Jones, still a good friend. I consider him to be a good friend. He's sponsoring a bunch of other channels, and that's great. He's got to evolve as a businessman. And Mark at Hobby Nut Models, he reached out to me. I thought it was a scam. I was very unsure. I started researching it. Oh, okay, it is an official website. All good. I had noticed Jason at Blue Ox had been sponsored by him also, and I had heard about him on Matthew model car videos. So I knew it was pretty legit. So I reached back out to him and said, yeah, what do I got to do? I mean, I don't know if I would even qualify for this. And he, explained the rules and the business end of it. And I was like, okay, well, we'll give it a try and see how it goes. And it didn't do good. And I want to contribute that to me constantly saying balling on a budget, how to do things and not spend a lot of money. And that may have been it. But, there was just no, going through my link and a lot of people buying stuff and making it lucrative enough for him to keep sponsoring the channel. Now, other channels have had more success, and that falls under YouTube and how many subscribers you have and how many likes you get. And yeah, everybody pushes those agendas, and because they have those sponsors, they don't want to lose those sponsors. So yeah, they're going to push it to you guys and hope that you go through that link and you purchase something. So in return, they get new stuff to the channel. That's the vicious cycle and the vicious game. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to be misconstrued on me thinking that it's a horrible thing. I know a lot of people reached out to me and said they don't really care for that. A 15-minute video and 10 minutes of it is all using codes and where they got this and who gave them this. I understand that. I don't like the commercials either. But, you guys on YouTube, I'm not very tech savvy, so let's clear that up right away. I'm going to have a lot of help if I do this podcast thing, because I just don't, I'm not wired that way. If somebody put podcast equipment in front of me, I'm going to want to take it apart. I want to see how it's put together, how it works, how it functions. That's how I learn how to, I guess, adapt to things and how things work. And it's no different us buying certain paints. We go through it and we try it, and we like this. This works really well. Very minimal cleanup, whatever it may be. But that's how I'm wired. And I know there's a lot of other people out there that's wired the same way. We have to have these great products if we want to build great models. Can we do it cheaper? Yeah, you most certainly can. Cheaper comes with a little bit more effort and work and imagination put into it, because you're taking something. Here's an example. I buy this. I call it bulk. This is the actual size you see when you buy either Morgan's Automotive Detail or Parts by Parks or any of those pre-wired distributors. This is what they're using, but they're buying it. The big companies are buying it on, big. I don't have one in front of me, but a big spool, and they have to buy X amount in order to get the different sizes and the colors and all that we all love to use, which makes our models look more realistic. Can you cut that corner? Yeah, you can buy in a smaller bulk. This was like $2 or $3. And yeah, you can go to somebody and buy 6 or 8 distributors that are 3D printed, or somebody that's casting them, and take the time and drill them out and put all the wires in them and either sell them or use them on your own builds. But that all requires a lot more work, where it's just so convenient to go to Morgan's Automotive Detail, and for $6 or $7 a piece, you buy half a dozen distributors at a time, and you're good for, half a dozen models or half a dozen builds. That's all great and fine, but, for a channel really to prosper and do, I guess, what it really is designed to do, it takes sponsors. It takes people like you out there watching the videos to buy their merchandise, to buy, or go to the links and buy the products that their sponsors are giving them, and giving them a discount on for you guys. And you think about it, it's kind of cool. You get 10-15% off by going through that link. That saves you a little bit of money, and that kind of falls in that bowling alley budget. But I've always said, save your money for the cool things, the more expensive tools, whatever it may be, but use cheaper stuff meanwhile. Get the job done. I look at it as a job. I'm on a time limit. I got to get this and this and this and this done. So what is it going to take for me to be able to do that in a timely fashion for what time I have? Not everybody thinks that way or operates that way, and kudos to them. I'm not really mad at any one individual, so I don't want anybody to think I am, and I'm calling people out. I admire a lot of these guys, and I see a lot of great work in some of these newcomers that are coming onto YouTube, and I've seen quite a few new ones on Instagram. You always kind of see the same people on Facebook, which is really kind of a refreshing thing. But Facebook, to me, that's where I started, and I didn't like Facebook to begin with, so, I don't get on there a whole lot. I'll post something every once in a while, and I'm a member of probably, 15 different model clubs on there. Lucas C's being one of them. But, it's, then I found Instagram, because I think it was a family member said, it was my son, said, hey, Dad, have you ever seen Instagram? I was looking the other day, I just typed in model cars, and there was a zillion guys posting pictures of model cars. And so I did it, and I was like, holy craps. So I set up an account, and that's where I really got my big start. And I think I'm like at almost 3,000 subscribers on Instagram. And I've been on Instagram for 7 years, 8 years. Yeah, 8 years. And, I've met a lot of guys. Shane Harold, Man Cave Models. I'm a member of MCBA. One of the biggest clubs out there. They reached out to me, and another member of this reached out to me and said, "How would you like, blah blah blah?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, that's what I was was one of my goals, and I achieved one of my goals. Somebody recognized that I was a good enough modeler to be part of an elite club. And I've stayed in communication with, members of the club as much as I can. Not as much as I'd like to, but as much as I can. And, I still post from time to time on Instagram. It'll be a little bit more now. So you guys, like I said, you can go over to Instagram and when I'm doing a build, I'll be posting progress pictures and the final on Instagram. Only a certain few things will be on this channel here. The new channel, like I said, when we make the final decision and we kind of get the fundamentals of it, I guess, set up, it's going to start off very rough because there is money involved to do this, and I don't have a lot right now. So I'm going to have to do the balling on the budget method. The name's still not written in stone, but all that will be relayed to you hopefully in the next couple of videos. If not, I'll do one special video announcing and putting a link down where you can find the new channel, blah, 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 blah. So on to this. Hours worth of work here. So I decided to throw this in and do this so you guys kind of get a little how-to. I know a lot of you, crave that and like to see that. Masking is a unique art in itself, and I have not yet mastered it. Let's put it that way. I do okay, and other times I screw it all up. But don't get deterred by screwing it up. There is products out there. I don't know if he has it on there yet. He was talking about doing it, but if you go to STS Decals and check, just to make sure. I probably should have called Terry and asked him, but we're just throwing out there. That stuff you see, and you've seen Matthew on Model Car Videos do a video on it. It's a liquid. It's pricey. It's like $30, but it is reusable. And I'll tell you the stages how you can reuse it. So you pour it in a container like you do anything else. It will strip everything off in a matter of minutes. And you take an old toothbrush and go in there, scrub it off, take it over to your garden hose, rinse it off, or if you got an old basin sink in your basement, rinse it off. If it doesn't all come off, put it back down in there for a little while longer, and it'll eventually all come off very easily. Then you just do a real light. I would do probably maybe, 800 to 1,000, and then work your way up to 3,000. Get it washed off again, dry, put it in spray booth, reprimer, and you're ready to go again. Yes, a lot of extra work. And the way you save your stripper is when you're done, don't just keep it in that container. They make strainers. They're like the real, and they're really useful on the 3D printers. They're a real kind of rubbery thing, and you can get those paint filters, you know what I'm talking about? They're real fine mesh that gets even the finest micro little specks of dirt out of your paint before you use it. You put one of those down into your funnel and put that back down into the jar that it comes in, pour the fluid through there, and it'll catch all that little paint crap in that. Yeah, it'll clog up pretty quick, and you kind of take your finger and rake it to the side a little bit, wear gloves, and the fluid will keep straining through that and collect all the garbage out of it. Now it's been filtered, so to speak, and you can reuse it again, or keep it in the container and just do it until it's just so full of crap you got to throw it away. Dispose of it safely. Put it in a jar with a good tight lid on it. Maybe take it to your local place where you can drop off chemicals. I wouldn't recommend just dumping it in a landfill. I think it is safe to do that, but I don't know all the ins and outs on it. I just know you can reuse it until you got to add more. It's like $30 a bottle. But is it worth it? Yes. That is one product I would recommend buying that is worth it. I've actually seen it in person work. I've seen other guys do it on their channel and saw it work for them. But you never know. But trust me, buy stock in what I'm saying. It does work. And how I know is because I was at Terry's house, and he said, he was all excited. He said, "You got to see this." I said, "I've seen, I'm just not." He goes, "No, you got to see this in action." Took me up there and showed me, put a part in there, and it just came right off. I was like, holy crap. Have I got any yet? No, because it's $30. I don't always have an extra $30 just to throw at something. So I'm trying to save some pennies so I can get a bottle or two of it, so I'll be stocked up on it. And wherever you can get it at, I would recommend looking into it and getting it. And if you already have it, So don't get deterred about doing all this work and then it screwing up your paint job. It's just part of it. It can happen. But I use a very, very fine line. I use professional grade tape, guys. This is where I'll stress spend the money. This is I call it rubber. It's not rubber. It's probably some other thing. But this tape can be stretched and manipulated to do all this fancy, like you see those lowrider paint jobs. I have this, and where's the other one at? Here's this. This is kind of like edging tape. This is a little thicker. It's more pliable. You can really do crazy things with it. My biggest problem is, and I didn't really think about it, is I left these out, uncovered. Dust settled on them, collected, stuck to the sides. So be very mindful when you're doing your edges that you might want to just kind of take a rag and kind of wipe your tape off real good as you're pulling it off. Make sure you're getting the sides of it and getting every bit extra you can off there. That way it doesn't make you goofy. Instead, you'll have a nice clean straight edge instead of having little burrs in it everywhere. Always keep your tape sealed up. These big gallon size Ziploc bags are great for that if you remember to close it. But this one's in pretty good shape, so I use this and I go down my edge. Remember, we're just doing it, instead of putting a pinstripe on it, we're doing a painted pinstripe. So this is going to be black. We're using a matte black, but it'll be gloss after I clear coat it, of course. But you can see the green there. And you just burnish that in really well after you get it down. Make sure you've laid it straight. Now this one I kind of followed the body line contours a little bit, so it's not going to be a perfectly straight line. That's not what we're going for. This car, the fenders kind of rise, or the quarter panels kind of got that little hump in the back of them. So it kind of follows a little, like it goes straight and then kind of goes up a hair and then kind of tails back down. And that's just what we're going for. If you look down the side, maybe you can see it. See how it dips down there, like right by the door? And that's just because the body line dips down and comes back up over that quarter panel. And I tried, and like I said, I've pissed an hour away on this. And then after I get, since we're doing a double-sided line, you can see the two edges of green there. And then I come back over with, I think this is 1/2 inch or 3/4. Let's see. This is 3/4 inch. I buy this in bulk. Here's the 1/2 inch. I buy this in bulk on Amazon. It's cheaper. It's the exact same thing as Tamiya. Don't try to tell me it's not, because it is. I've bought tons of Tamiya. Tamiya is a little bit different color. It's a little bit lighter shade. And good example of that is right here. This is Tamiya. You see how it's like a more yellow instead of the orange yellow. Okay, I buy the Tamiya. I think this is 2 inch or 1.5 inches. Yeah, 1.5 inches wide. This is to cover big areas. And now I'm out, so I'm going to have to get some more somehow, some way. None of this tape, even Tamiya, sticks super well unless you've got a nice clear coated body and everything's nice and smooth. Then it sticks very well. But if you've already painted and you got some, on the inside of the body, it's not smooth. It doesn't stick very well. It sticks, just not very well. So always before you paint, go back over, touch all your tape, make sure everything's laid down. And I've seen other guys give tutorials on it. I'm going to show you how I do it. Since I've got a double-sided line, let's start with a single edge line. So if you're doing a single edge line, you want to spray away from your tape edge. Just mist coats, build up a layer, let it gas out, come back 10-15 minutes later, one more coat like that direction, then you can come back straight on and get your coverage. And it generally only takes 2 light coats and maybe 1 medium coat, and you're pretty good, especially if you're just doing striping. You're not going to be doing a lot of sanding on it, or worrying about it doing that. I recommend about 3 coats, 4 coats, just to be safe. If you do have to come back and lightly sand the paint or the tape edges to get it all smooth before you clear coat, you're just better off. You're safer. But some things you can get away with just 2 light coats and 1 medium coat. But it's truly better to do 2 light coats, a medium coat, and then one wet coat, and you should be safe for any light sanding to get edges smooth before you clear coat. But on a double edge like this, what I do is I come head on, but I turn my air pressure down. I am using lacquer, so it's going to dry a lot quicker. So I don't turn it down a whole lot. I'm probably about 18 to 22 pounds PSI in my airbrush. And I'm just, like I said, my workhorse is a Posh, or whatever you want to call them. And I'm just, just where I can start seeing a little color. And I'll do that 2 or 3 times until I got it all somewhat covered. And then I put it away for a few minutes. I let it gas out. And then I come back and I do another one like that. And then by then I've got pretty good coverage. And then I let that gas out and I can come back and I'll hit it with a wet coat and skip the medium coat. But if it needs it, I'll do the medium coat, then do the wet coat. You got to kind of just play with it and see what you get. So we're going to stop the video here. I'm going to go get the paint ready. The air booth, hopefully it works, because it is going out. It keeps kicking in and out, kicking in and out. And I hope that it does it on video so you guys don't think I'm trying to pull your leg or get somebody to send me a free paint booth, because I'm not. In this hobby, when you're on a fixed income and you're balling on a budget, those are one things that you always have to keep mind of. If something goes out, you better be socking some pennies away to replace it, or you're going to wait a time until you have the money to purchase something like that. Because now, that was a Christmas gift from my sons 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago. It's now, because the first year I started back in the hobby, I was rattle canning. I wasn't airbrushing. Going into the second year, that's I got that for Christmas, and that was a game changer. I had to get used to it. I've been trained on using an airbrush when I was in college and high school. There was a class you could take for airbrushing, and Posh was the big airbrush back then, and we're talking back in the early 80s. So that's how I learned how to do, t-shirt art and license plates, and I started doing custom stuff on the side to make a few extra bucks here and there to put in my own hot rod. But then you stop using it, and you lose the groove for it, and you got to learn all that again. There's a learning curve in everything in the modeling. Every time you get a new product, there's a learning curve. Anytime you want to venture out into a lathe or a CNC machine or 3D printing, resin casting, there's all a learning curve in it, and you got to go through that if you want to be able, if you want to do that. So don't get scared. Like I said, an hour of taping for what's going to take us probably 2 minutes, actual 2 minutes to spray it. We do have to wait a little time frame, and we'll be stopping in between there, and we'll be coming back, or maybe we'll just go through the whole thing real quick. I'm not worried about the gas out process for this little tiny pinstripe. But if you're starting off doing it and striping, that is the best way to do it. And here's a trick. A lot of guys talk about it. You take your 2 brand new number 11 blades, put them together, and slide them down in here. Lock it down, and there'll actually be a tiny little gap between those 2 blades. And you can lay your tape out on a piece of clean glass. Always clean your glass first with a lint-free towel. Lay your tape out, and you can use a straight edge and come down through there, and you can make those tiny little strips of tape like you see those guys doing on those lowriders. Because even professional painters, I've got a buddy that is one, so don't tell me it doesn't work this way. He does the same thing on real cars. He's got, it's not a sheet of glass. I think it's a sheet of plexiglass or some kind of acrylic or something that he's got in the shop. He built it. It's a jig. It's on an old engine stand, believe it or not. And this thing tilts. So when he's doing it, he'll lay out 16 rows of tape. This table's about 6 feet long, I think, maybe. And he'll put it on an angle, and he'll lay his tape, and he'll just get on there, and he uses clamps. He's got this big long ruler. I have one here, and he's got clamps welded to it. And when he gets up there, he'll clamp it and measure off the edge of the plexiglass. So you want a true edge, and he'll measure over, keeping the double-edged blade in mind, and he'll come down through there, and he'll slice all of that up Probably takes him an hour or more to do it all, but it's all ready to go. So then when he starts doing his designs and everything, he has all that thin little stuff. And then he steps up. I've got, when you buy that pack, you get, there's the little tiniest, I don't know what it is, 16th. There's one just a hair smaller. Then we start getting a little bigger right here on this side of the green. And then this side of the green here, you get a little bigger. And then that's 1/4 inch. And then you go up to, or maybe that's 1/4 inch. That's 1/8 inch. Yep, this is 1/8 inch. And then you go to 1/4 inch, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 1/4 inch. And then you're going to have a 16th. And then you're going to have probably a 32nds, which is this crap here. And then probably a 64th. Now, this, when you do low riding type paint jobs, is even thinner than that. So keep that in mind. And then I've got a couple different brands. Now these green ones came from Tropical Glitz. These are professional grade masking tapes that they use on real car bodies, motorcycles, etc. And this is what they do to do curves. Real fancy work. And I spent money on it. It was well worth it. It works great for our hobby. This stuff is just as good as Tamiya. I don't know what the link is anymore, but these things are good to save here, underneath here. I'll tell you why, because you can take these and lay them on a sheet of styrene, cut the sheet of styrene on the new roll of tape, the outer dimension, cut the circle, draw your circle on the inside, and then cut it out, lay it over and do another one, and then glue it on here, and you just created a spool. So now you can take your bulk wire, your bulk ribbon, whatever it is, and wrap it around there and keep it nice and neat and stow it away, and then just pull off what you need. Always cut a little slit in the side so you can, when you're done with it, you can take it up through and put it on there. And good way to organize your wires and whatever it may be. These are so small, I just keep them in the little Ziploc baggies they come in. So now we know we don't have to do any masking to the hood because this is the finished color. There's no stripes or decals on the hood. It is what it is. So we got this, we're ready to go. So we'll stop it here, come back to the paint booth. We'll take a gander at it, and then like I said, make sure you watch this video all the way through, because at the end of the video will be the final reveal. And then we're only going to have one more video of me actually doing things, and other than what I've already announced I'm going to do, which is the Ring Brothers Charger and the diorama. And that weighed on me heavily because so many people did get involved with the diorama. So many people sent things to the channel for the diorama. 2 guys worked their ass off to create and design things for the diorama. I owe it to them and to you for you guys to be able to see that thing come to life. And that will happen. I probably will start on it late this summer, and we'll work on that all the way until it's done through the new year. I hope to have it done before 2027. My plans are in 2027 to return to Acme one more time and reveal it at Acme. So I'll keep you posted on that, just on during those videos for the diorama, and give you a definite. And if so, if you get a chance to make it to Atlanta, to come to Acme, I recommend it. It's a great show, great people there. Some not great, but the majority of it is great people. And that's all walks of life. You'll meet good people and you meet bad people, and you meet people that you feel you get a horrible review of them, and that's just life, guys. And you'll just have to get over that. But overall experience will be fantastic. It'll blow your mind seeing all these guys you see on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, seeing their actual models on the table and getting to look up close, take pictures of them. It'll blow your mind, and that'll be a good way for you to see some of my stuff. I'll probably take a couple builds. I'm not interested. I'm focusing on the diorama as my main build for it, and hopefully maybe we take home a glass trophy. I hope to. It's highly likely that I won't. And I may have, the past couple of videos may have just burned all my bridges tenfold. And that's fine too. Because it's just as quick as I got there, I can load everything up and I can turn around and leave. I don't need YouTube. I don't need Instagram. I don't need Facebook. I don't need shows to do what I do. I do what I do because I have a passion for this, and I have had for 53 years. And I love model cars. I love the community, just not as a whole. At one time I did, because it was fantastic. And then I started seeing things, and I started hearing things, and not just to me, to other people, so it's not a one-sided opinion. There's multiple, 40, 50 people. Let's just go there. 40, 50 people have reached out to me and said, hey, yeah, so I know it's not just me. So that reassures me a little bit. And you guys, your comments, that reassures me too. And I really appreciate all that. And all the views, and believe it or not, the duration of views have gone up, which kind of sucks because, we're done. I wish this could have happened in a better way, and really would have promoted the channel a lot better. But it's not. So it's time, guys. I've got to evolve somehow, and if I can't do it on here, I'm going to figure out a different way. And I'm really tired of the little man getting left out just because he's whatever reasons. It doesn't matter. You're a modeler. That's all that matters, and that's all that should matter to this community, is that you're a modeler and you want to learn and you want to experience this hobby as your mentors have, and who mentored them, and learn about all these products and tools and techniques, and how I can achieve this and how I can achieve that. What do I got to do? All that stuff. So that is the reasoning and the thought process of the podcast. And I had this thought years ago, somewhat before I came to YouTube. And what approach am I going to take to YouTube? Maybe I'll just do a kind of a podcast, and because I like to talk. Everybody knows that. So now it kind of makes sense that we'll take this channel and evolve it into a podcast where we can talk about what our passions are in the modeling industry, products, tools, techniques, spotlight individuals, whether they're well known or they're a nobody. That's why it'd probably be called the Average Modeler Podcast. I want to promote our hobby to the youth, the next generations to come. All of us that are in our late 40s and early 50s and 60s and 70s that are out here, I'm trying to get all I can get and do all I can do, and you're just doing for yourself. You're not really, you're doing some stuff on your videos, which is fantastic. Keep it up, because everybody learns from that. But I think it should be a little bit more driven to that. More, if you're older, you should be focused more on knowledge being passed down than what you can achieve from this time forward, other than your show builds you build to take to shows. That's your focus to achieve what you want. But if you're going to be on here, and this is my opinion, and a lot of people don't agree with it, clearly, but you should be passing that knowledge down to the next generation that keeps this hobby alive for many, many, many years to come. And for every next new tool and equipment that comes out, that sparks interest in somebody to do it. Before we know it, these little things will be, like a Mona Lisa. Who knows? But to me, it's all art. It's creativity. So let's stop it here, and we'll get over there, and I'll get it all set up, and we'll come back, and we'll do a quick paint thing. Mindful, I don't have sound deadening equipment, so I'm going to not talk too much to the video there, because you'll be hearing the airbrush and the compressor and the air booth, all that noise. So just watch and see. I have no special techniques. I just go at it. Certain things I have certain techniques, but we're not getting any of that today. But you'll get to see how we'll do this. We'll come back and I'll run it. This video is going to be very long, but this is the last video on this build. So you may have to watch it in parts, and that's fine. But watch the whole video. And we'll show pulling the tape off, how I pull the tape off, just like anybody else would do, but I'm going to show you how I do it. And I hope this helps anybody out there. And any questions, feel free. My email's always in the DM or the descriptions down below. Send me an email. I got 15 emails last night in a matter of an hour. A lot of people watch my videos, they don't comment because they're watching it on the TV. I understand that because I do the same. But they do reach out in other ways to contact me and let me know what they think and, say their piece and all that. So let's get over there. See you here in a few minutes. Okay, boys and girls. Quick tip on paint. I'm notorious bad for this, but we're going to try to do it right. So I buy these little medicine cups. I buy them in bulk on Amazon. They're like $7 or $8 and you get 100 or 200 of them. It is well worth it, especially if you're trying to be precise. I was in the beginning very precise on mixing things because, people always say, 4-to-1 and 1-to-1 and 2-to-1. And yeah, that's all great when you're learning and you're trying to learn the steps. Follow the steps. Best thing you can do is get to know somebody. I'm trying to decide why there's a line in the middle of my screen. I think it's just a glare. I'm just leaning you here, so I don't know if you guys can see this little line or not. Ignore it. Clean strip. Bulk. Buy in bulk. Ball on a budget. This is like $30. I've had this for 3 years. And it's a quarter of the way full or halfway full. About a quarter of the way full. You hear that rattling noise? It's because I dropped the pipette down in there. And this stuff's strong, but it's not. Oh, there's 2 pipettes down in there. Heh. Wonderful. When people tell you it's cheap paint thinner, this is what you get. You can go to your local hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, any of those carry this. Usually you can get it in little quart cans like this. They were out of it, so I ended up having to buy the gallon, which was a blessing because I've had it for 3 years, where I usually go for 1 or 2 of these a year if I'm really busy in here. But get you a can of this too. This is mineral spirits. This is really good if you do things like I do. Like I like to hand paint my chrome trim. It's just me. Does it turn out nice? No, it can be looking very sloppy. But with the right Q-tips and some toothpicks, you can come back and clean your edges up pretty nice. You don't want to pour that stuff on there because it will affect it then. But a little bit on a Q-tip will clean up the all-clad, or it'll clean up the Molotov. These are $20. I have 2 of these, and I've had these for 8 years. Now, the smaller pins, I've noticed one of them's gone aluminum looking. It doesn't come out real shiny anymore. I do want to try an experiment of mixing the old with some newer and see if that rejuvenates it. If I do that and I remember, I'll let you know. I'm not for sure. Maybe somebody out there knows. You can leave it down in the comments. But I always take one of these little things and I fill it up. This is to clean my airbrush solely. I always put a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 milliliters in my airbrush before I use it. Blow it all out. That'll get any, let it sit in there for a minute or 2. Then blow it out through the airbrush, and it'll clean all the way down across that needle and out the nozzle before you paint. Make sure it's all out, of course. I buy these little paper towels. These tear off into these little squares. These are perfect. I'll show you. Right here, they come off like this, and then you just tear them right here. And I keep 2 ready. I have a, what do you call these things? I use them as shop towels. I'll use them to clean my brushes. I wipe models off with them, and I throw them in the washing machine, and then in the dryer, and I get what I can out of it, and then I throw it away. Anyways, so then I have that, and then I have my mixing cup, because today we're using automotive paint. Now, my good friend I was just talking about a few minutes ago, he mixes all these colors. If I'm doing a OEM color, I'll get the paint code, I take it to him, and he'll mix me up. He always fills the bottle. So I always have tons. Project Shorty, all that paint was PPG, pearl paint, came from him. He matched it to the OEM color, but in a pearl paint. So we got a beautiful to match the real truck. So anytime you're seeking out and you're going to do a replica build, and you're not always going to find that color in Gravity or MC or MCW, whatever the hell it's called. What is that stuff called? Well, that's too tight. Get that out of there. MCW. These are fantastic paints, and if you're really still determined about, testers, going out in the enamels, these are a good alternative to go to use. I love MCW paints. I have a slew of them. A lot of those Mark gave us to the channel, and a lot of them I've bought. All my splash paints were bought. All my Gravity paints were bought. My pre-thinned down, whatever the big, these are decanted and then thinned down. But these, see how it's all settled in the bottom? Watch this. Boom. Couple shakes. There's a little ball bearing down in there. And the paint's ready. I bought these at a show. They're like $2 a piece or something like that. I got 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them. Yeah, 5. We've used the blue. The deep blue. It's duplicate color. Sorry. I even wrote it on there so I don't forget. Same way, it settles in there, but I've had this for 3 years. It works. It's worked. That you have to be careful with your airflow. Anytime you're going to decant something, if you've got too much air to it, it's going to spider web coming out of your airbrush because it wants to dry immediately when it comes out. So turn your pressure down a little bit to where you just test spray until you see it stop spider webbing. Then you're good, and it lays nice. And I've got paint jobs 3 years old, and I've looked at them, and I've not had any issues with cracking. I do bury it under 2K, so that may help. But today we're using, this is PPG. This is just a black, no specific black that I'm aware of. But the way I do it is I give it a little shake, even though it's not pre-mixed. I pour a little bit in here because I'm not using a lot of paint today. So there. That's probably way too much. Do I have anything to... I don't have anything to paint, so we're going to lessen this amount. And this is where I said where mixing is kind of mute. So we got enough in there now. And you can't spray this just the way it is. It'll just glub out and spit out everywhere. And then I'll take my little paper towel here and clean the edge up. These are not lint free, so just be mindful and careful. I have a downdraft table and I have the spray booth. Normally, I'll turn them both on for about an hour before I even start any paint work. That way it cleans the room. But I do have air purifiers that run 24/7 just to keep the chemically smell in the room down to a acceptable level. And those work really good, so I'm not really worried about it. I clean those out about once a month and we're good. So now I've got this. When you go to your body shop or your buddy, make sure he gives you a bottle of reducer. I always have these little brushes in here. It's for touch-up. But I take my reducer and a pipette, new pipette, and I'll get a little reducer, and you're just going by drops here. So for that little bit of paint, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's where we're going to start. Doesn't mean that's where we're going to finish. I'll grab another pipette. And I don't just waste these pipettes doing one thing at a time. This one I will keep to mix and develop the paint. But then I'll get some leveling thinner, Mr. Color leveling thinner 400. And I'll do equal amounts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, this is where you want to see what your consistency is. You don't want it too thin because it's going to go right up underneath that tape and ruin your whole paint job. This should be not like milk, but just a hair heavier than milk. And the way you do that is just put it up on your cup and see how, if it goes down slow, and see that's perfect. It's creeping down there really slow, and that's what we want. And then now what I'll do is I'll just suck it up in my pipette, and I'll clean the sides off here, get that extra paint, because it'll help. Now that it's been thinned down, and it's got the reducer in it, get all the paint off the, well, as much as we can off the sides. And now I got enough to weigh more and do this stripe. As you guys can see. See, I just pull it up in there and that mixes it all real good. Now another tip I can give you here, and I think I've said this before, is I got these online. I can't remember where, but these little strainers work super good. They can be cleaned with thinner. It looks like I got one that is really dirty, and I don't know why it's in there like that. But you can take your paint from this point, right here, and run it through here and into another cup, and now you've strained your paint, and you're pretty golden to, you know, go ahead and start spraying. This, I'm not really too concerned with it. It's not going to spit nothing out on me, hopefully, that a little light sanding won't clean up. So now our paint's ready. So now I'll let this emulsify for about 2 or 3 minutes while I'm getting everything else ready. My workhorse, Pache right there, you can see it. Model w.h.i.p. If you guys don't have this airbrush, I recommend buying it. It was like 50 bucks. You get, if I'm not mistaken, you get 3 nozzles and 3 needles with this. And 1 cup. Or no, this also has a not just gravity fed, but you can do a siphon feed on this. It comes with a bottle. I'm right here by the stuff, so let's, there it is. Right here, siphon feed bottle. Now this will go into the back of this. So then I can, you know, put it off to the side, whatever, however it goes, I can't remember, and you can siphon feed. But I don't like that. That's how I learned how to airbrush, was with siphon feed. This wasn't very relevant back then that I can recall. Correct me if I'm wrong, these little cups. But this is perfect for anything I do. Doesn't matter what it is. This has a little O-ring that goes to it, but I don't use it. I've never had paint puke out of it, spray out of it, and now that's probably going to happen now. And it, without that on there, it goes exactly where I need it to be to line it up. Then this is a 0.5 nozzle. It's like a needle. This is what determines how much paint comes out, along with the needle itself, which is right here. And then the opening in the needle, you can see right there. I always have that, make sure it's facing straight to the roof or ceiling. And I slide it in there. Boom. Don't be too concerned about this little Allen head. They do get stripped out over time. You can go to your local hardware store and find them. They were like 13 cents a piece, so I bought like 6 of them just to have as backup. Just snug it tight. That's all you need. Make sure you snug it though, because if not, you can pull it loose. And then I bring my nozzle all the way back. Okay? Now, the compressor's not on, but now it's ready. I can just spray air. I'm not spraying any paint. You control your amount of paint coming out by adjusting this right here. Going out this way, more paint. Back this way, less paint. When I start, I always just open it where I see the paint finally coming out. That is my mist coats. And then, when I come back to do a medium coat, I'll do 1 full turn. And can I tell? No, not really. I just kind of gauge it and adjust it. You can put a little permanent mark on there and count it to the center stem here. And, you know, just if it makes it easier on you, but yeah. And then I install this. Okay. And then I take my pipette. I put a few drops of thinner in there, just enough to catch the bowl. And now I'm ready to turn my compressor on. Hear my compressor. This is a new compressor, by the way. It's just, it gets not cold in here, but it gets chilly. Probably the low 60s, if you want to call it chilly. But it's always done that since I bought it. Now, I have my old one as a backup. I've got it working, but I like this little compressor. It was cheap. It was probably $120, something like that. There it goes. Hear it? After it gets a little pressure, it quietens down. So now you can hear it. I hope. It's just air. So now I'll take like everybody else does, and I'll just lightly go down that model just to make sure there's nothing that's fallen on there since we've been sitting here. While I'm waiting for my paint to emulsify. It is important, guys, once you mix paint, to let it sit for a few minutes. Let all the chemicals emulsify together, because you can start spraying right away and end up spraying. It'll be the thinner is going to rise to the top and the paint's going to settle to the bottom. So you can start shooting straight thinner onto your freaking model and ruin the whole thing. So let it emulsify, and then always before you use it, come back and give it a good gentle stir. Suck a little bit up in your pipette, squirt it back out, and just do this as it's emulsifying. And now I've got 2 pipettes I used. This one I'll use when I go to clean up. The one I use for the leveling thinner, I'm using to apply the paint to the airbrush and, you know, stir and mix up. So give me just a minute here. We'll be back and we'll be ready to start spraying. Alright, boys and girls, again, I apologize for all the noise, but this is the only way I can do it. Hopefully I don't jump out of frame where you see this. Now you can see my spray booth. This is custom built. It's 2 foot by 2 foot square. I have reflective tape up here on the top, which helps. I have a light strip going across there. I have my old light rack. Let's see if I can get you up there where you can see it. There you go. My old light rack from the old spray booth. That gives me extra light, and then I have exterior lights out here that I can angle on what I'm doing that are very bright, and they get very hot, so I try not to use them too long. But, you know, I think we're ready. So, get a little paint in the, little paint gun. I always bring my paint and pipette into the spray booth. Now, like I said, I'll just start spraying until I see some come out. Boom. About like that. I don't know if it'll show up in the camera or not. That's showing up. So, now we're ready. I'm about 5 inches away. This is basically a tack coat. I go back and forth about 2 or 3 times. Back here I want to be a little careful. Don't stay in one spot too long. Move pretty quickly. From front to back movement. corners. Okay, so we'll just give this a few seconds and then we'll come back and hit it again. See, each time it's getting darker. When you've turned down your pressure, and you can get a little closer. Don't get so close it'll start splattering or running. It's just a process of playing with it until you get the feel for it. See, just come back in, and now I'm giving it that medium coat. We did our 2 light coats. This is just a medium coat. I hope you guys can see this. I won't know until I go to edit. Now I'll double check it, get closer, make sure I don't have any light spots. The medium coat is full coverage. You want to get it all completely covered, and then this is where we're going to let it sit for a few minutes. Fish the gas out. I'm being careful on the trunk here because it is tapes pulled back, and I don't want to have to do a lot of cleanup back there. Hopefully we don't. We're pretty much done. We're not putting any more paint on the back of it. And now adjust our nozzle 1 full turn. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Now we're going to come down and give it the wet coat. Got it all. Hopefully the back of that didn't get up underneath that tape too bad. The taillight bezels get chromed, so we don't have to worry about that too much. Let me turn you around here. I turn off my compressor at this point, and then I release the pressure. Once a month I drain it. You don't want to keep water in there, it will rust the inside of your tank out. Ask me how I know. We shut off our compressor. We turn off all of our extra lights. Okay. Now, normally I wouldn't show all this, but this is all garbage now. So now we take our old thing, we wrap that around there. We stick it all down in our cup of paint, like so. And I use big Amazon boxes to catch all my garbage. And then I take it out and I dump it. And after the first time, then I come back and I put a trash bag down in it. That way it makes it easier each time after. Normally, if I'm doing little things like that and I'm not talking, I'll just use my M95 mask. I do have a full respirator. I know a lot of people get really psycho over all that. If I'm painting for quite a while or big things, I use my respirator. Just all depends on what you're doing. What you're doing it to. So now we have this. Now typically, this I would strip this off immediately, but it's going to be a few minutes because we're going to show you how I do it. So, cleaning process. I pull my cup out, and be careful, there'll be paint up inside there. I set my cup to the side. I keep that upside down. I take my set screw and loosen it. And I open my valve all the way. I got a paper towel underneath this. So now I can pull my needle out, put it down in the paint thinner. Pull my nozzle out, put it down in the paint thinner. Unscrew spray tip. Usually I don't get this much paint all over myself, but that's trying to do something on camera. And I put it down in the paint thinner. And I let this soak. My airbrush, it doesn't need no other cleaning. Every once in a while you can run a Q-tip through the opening here, just to keep that channel from things sticking and not moving freely. Get paint on you, just take your little rag, dip it in your thinner real quick. Come back and clean your fingers off. Part of the process, because you don't want to touch the body and have wet paint on your fingers. A lot of guys use gloves. I do for certain things, not everything. I like using my hands. I like getting dirty and messy. So now that we've done that, you can see where it leaked out. We'll take that rag and we'll clean all that up. We'll throw all these away. Grab another paper towel, tear it in two. This is all we'll need for the finish. Pipette we talked about. I'll take it and get it in the thinner, and I squirt it down in the bowl and let it run out. It's going to be hard to show you this, but this all this does is clean the bowl itself out. And it comes out where it would suck the paint out. And then I take my paper towel and I wipe everything off really good on the outside from all the thinner on it. Clean the bowl. I take my pinky inside the paper towel and I get down there and wipe it out really good. Okay? Everything good and clean. And then I take this tiny little brush and I dip it in my thinner and I'll run it down through the tube all the way to where it goes no more. And that just gets any chunks or anything that dried up on me real quick out of it. Blow it out. Check down the bowl. The bowl's clean. Always look up underneath the lip of the bowl. Make sure you got, no there, because when you put fresh paint in there, it'll emulsify that down into your good paint, and then you'll be spitting chunks out. So get your bowl really good and clean. So I always kind of double clean it. I'll clean it, and then when I go to use it again, I shoot a little thinner through it. You know what I'm saying? Just to be safe. Then I turn it upside down. I got a piece of glass here. You can see. That's what I do all my mixing on. Try to keep my bench somewhat clean. Here's other airbrush parts. So you can see everything's just soaking in there. And then I just take one part out at a time. Use my fingers or tweezers, whatever floats your boat. I clean it out, wipe it off. Whoops. Drop our little brush. Now I do have a whole slew of brushes, different sizes, that I'll use for whatever. Clear coat is usually the worst because it's so sticky. And this one you can see there's still a little paint inside the release nozzle there. So I take this little brush and I get up in there. And it'll go all the way up and come out. See how it comes out? And I just work that in there. A little more thinner. Get up in there. Boom. That's why I use this, because it goes all the way up through there. Hear that? Airflow's good. I turn it upside down. I get my next little piece, so on and so forth. Just repeat the process. Now on the nozzle, this brush does not fit down in. Well, it'll go down there somewhat. I have this little brush here I dip in the thinner. And I come back into the threaded part on the inside, the female threads. I just go around and clean it up really good. Blow it out. You can see it's good and clean. Nothing came out the tip. So I set it upside down. And then I get my actual nozzle. Or I should say spray tip. I'm sure there's terms for these. I'm just making this shit up, guys. So. These, I have a little single wire. If it gets really bad, I can run through there and clean that hole out. But if you do this method, and just blow on it, make sure you got air flowing out of it, turn it upside down, leave it sit, you're golden. Because the next time you put a little air, thinner in there, spray it all out. If anything got left in there, it'll, even if you do it 2 or 3 times, you're not hurting nothing. You're better off for doing it. And then I keep my little accessories there. Always keep a Q-tip handy to clean that bowl out around that lip. And I throw it away. The leftover thinner. Now, depending on what you're using, but since I use just black, you can keep a jar like this. Always label your jars. And you can add this into this. This is just to clean paint brushes, etc. Because what happens is, like in any paint, if you let it sit, all the paint settles to the bottom. The thinner stays to the top. You're just dipping your paintbrush down in there and cleaning it. You try not to pick this up and stir it around too much. So always keep it someplace that is, you know, whatever, handy. You don't have to move it around a lot. And I take a little thinner on the paper towel and I clean the top of it every so often. Just to keep things nice and tidy and clean. But label it so nobody comes in and goes, oh, what is that, a glass of water? And then you're taking them to the ER. So that's it, guys. That's how we do it. Give me a few minutes. We'll get back to the other bench and we'll get this, start stripping the tape off of it. And you'll see how I do that. And that'll be the end of this video. The next video will be pretty much the final. Because the only thing after this is decals, clear coat, final assembly. And I'll do most of that off camera. But we'll show the thing. I just wanted to put this bit in here this time. That way you guys kind of get a little how-to thing. So, be right back. Okay, boys and girls, we're back. I know it's only been a few seconds in your world, but it's been probably about 20 minutes for me. I try not to wait no more than a half an hour before I start pulling tape off. And I tape in a method to where I reverse it when I go back. So I always leave an edge on the inside, as you can see right here. That way I can use these fat fingers with no fingernails to come in and pull my tape. And even though this isn't on the edge, I pull at an angle. I pull down towards my desk, basically, and towards myself. And that's just to make sure if there's anything wet on there, it doesn't come off onto this copperish orange color. And then I just always put my tape to the side. And I come over to the other side and I repeat the process. Rotate your body around. Try not to touch your fresh painted area. Same way. Pull towards me and down towards the table. And if your tape tears, it's no big deal. Leave it. Come back and get that part later. And always pull gently. Don't just rip the tape off, because you could rip your paint right off the damn thing. And anybody that's done that, you know that sucks. Boom. So now our orange is exposed. Now, we start up here because I have what I call hold down pieces of tape that just hold down the big edges, and I like to get those off next. And I always leave a corner flipped up, and I'm afraid we'll probably got overspray onto our silver on the trunk, which we'll have to, this is being lacquer, it's going to be a pain in the you-know-what to remove it. Hopefully if I got a little bit on the bezels, I'm not worried about it because I got a chrome nose, so the chrome will cover it. So it's not a jaw-dropping, oh my god, I just ruined the paint job, hopefully. So there, we got our hold down pieces down. Now we can remove our large coverage areas. And remember, these I pull just straight, but very slowly. I don't want to pull that silver off. That's what happened to me the first time with the silver. Not to mention it discolored and was all kinds of funky. And then I tried to wet sand it out and it just made it worse. And then I got mad, and that's it. It got put away. Now you have something to hold on to. So we have one piece to hold down here. There's several hold down layers I do, and that's just to cover each linear thing I do. Just extra precaution. And then I've got where it's wrapped around the front, and then a long piece, and I'm pulling this up and away and towards me. And I come back to the trunk. There's another hold down piece there and away. This is all just to ensure that we, keep a nice crisp line, hopefully. We're going to find out here together here in just a minute. And it pulled the silver off. Oh, damn. So, that sucks. I'm pulling all the way around, but I'm pulling down and away. There we go. So here we can see where it pulled the silver off. So now I get to go back after this dries, wet sand this down, and mask off all around the lower half and repaint this silver. I'm cool with that. That's not a big, a big issue, I guess, as the way it happened before. So I'm thankful that it was not as horrible. Oops, that's a little too aggressive. Okay, so now this is our second layer, and it's pulling the green tape with it, which is okay. But remember, pull away towards you and down, no matter what angle you're holding the model. Beautiful. Beautiful. See? Look how clean that line is. And here's a mistake that I couldn't get any better than this prior to without stripping the body completely, which I did not want to do. But once I bury this in clear coat, it's going to be very hard to see. So, we're thankful we got it that far. Now, we can remove our top strip. Always leave a little tab to grab hold of. Now this one I'm going to take and I'm going to pull up and towards me. And I'm going to pull this slow because I don't want to pull any more silver off. That way all I got to do is mask off that one little area to repaint the silver. Oh, this worked nice, guys. Very nice. Very happy. Ooh, and little overspray, but that will actually be covered, so I'm very happy with that. Wish I had sound effects. I'd put that in there now. Go, hey. Anyways, now the bottom stripe on this side, we're pulling towards us and down at the same time. I got a hold of the green, so it's pulling the yellow off with it, which is okay. Very slow, guys. Don't get in a rush. If anything is important, take your time. This is just as I showed you. I got a little aggressive there on that fender, and it pulled the paint, which I kind of thought it would because I had an issue there to begin with, and I know why. It was my fault, so it's not anything to do with any paint related issues. Look at that, nice and clean. Look down that angle. Nice, and I mean, it's not a straight line by any means, but it's nice straight edge. Now we've got our last one. Same method. I'm holding it up and I'm pulling away from me, and I'm pulling very slow. All this tape is very low tack, but it can still, as you saw, it'll pull the paint. This stuff is very expensive, well, for tape, but generally as a rule it won't pull your paint off. But you never know, so why risk it? It's not risking it for the biscuit on this one. Okay, guys, almost there. Almost. Boom. Last piece. This is what we were originally going for, other than where it friggin' pulled the paint off up here. But I know this paint's already cured or gassed out, so now I can come back and I'll just lightly sand this, and I'll wrap some paper towels around this and come up to my paint line here after the paint line gases out, and then we'll respray that silver. That's no big deal. It'll take maybe 5-10 minutes to mask off and a couple minutes to paint it, and then we can just let it all dry, and then we can get the decals on it and clear coat it and be none worse for wear. But yeah, look at the back. I'm really surprised. I thought for sure we got way up on there. Now we did a little bit, and don't know what I'm going to do about that. We'll figure something out to clean that up. Like I said, I wasn't worried about it getting on the bezels because these get chromed along with this emblem here, and then we got a decal that goes over top of this. It's not horrible. Get it to focus. There we go. It's not horrible. And we may leave it because once the bezels are painted, it may just drown that out and where you don't really see that little bit right there. We may come in and touch it up with a brush. The other side's worse. This side is okay, a little bit in between there, but we may come back and just lightly touch it up before we clear coat it because that's the time to do it. And that way you don't see it as bad. And then the bezels being chromed will draw your attention away from it, and it's not a showpiece anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But at this point, we're 15 minutes into the gassing out process, and it's pretty much dry to touch. That's another good thing about automotive paints or any kind of lacquer. If you spray it right and you mix it right, you can be handling it carefully, gingerly, and get it. But yeah, right there, look at that. I couldn't be any happier. Our little line got a little high right here on the back of that quarter piece, but that's okay. I can live with that. That looks pretty good because it goes all the way up and around. It's just as high right here, and I don't like that. So we may clean this up just a little bit if we can, and maybe just a hair right in here. And we'll leave it, and then once it gets all clear coated, hopefully you won't be able to tell where it was at. But let's throw the old hood on it here real quick, and you guys can kind of get a semi-final of what it looks like. You know, this is what it's going to look like. And this body is a little warped. I'm not throwing heat to it. I'm not going to try to manipulate it. Our chassis is manipulated enough. We're going to have to take some of this manipulation out. But, you know, at this point, you don't really want to handle it to put the chassis together, but this does go in pretty easy, and the bottom paint is cured along with the top layer. It's just the pinstriping. So I'm going to give you guys a little treat here. Something I normally don't do at this point, but I will show you what it looks like sitting on the bench. Pull this off here. I do have, this table's a little wonky, so it's not perfectly level. Motion right now, but not bad. See that stance? That's what a protouring looks like. And even to be honest, the front would be even a little, chances are it'd come up because there's no inner fender wells. It's all a tubular chassis. The tires would damn near come right to the top. Almost like it's bagged. And a lot of these are bagged, believe it or not. And that's so they'll set it on the ground and then raise it up to right height and adjust the stance or whatever they want to do with those airbags. But that's what I like, that look. And then if we grab it right and we look behind it and underneath, look how wide those tires are, and you can kind of see that the body's a little warped, and we got to get some stuff straightened out on it. But you get to see up underneath there, see that diff cover, the coilovers. If the camera would focus, there we go. And there's big wide tires. So don't be deterred from mixing it up a little bit with die cast. You can put model parts on a die cast, and you could really build a really beautiful die cast model. Some of these plastic, like we did with the Richard Petty race team, the chase truck, that was a toy. We took it apart, we put some different tires and wheels on it, We cleaned it all up. We custom painted the interior, custom painted the exterior to match the race team, added a bunch of decals. You can't tell it from a model car. And it's a plastic toy, roll around toy that you would get for your son or your daughter, and you know, they'd have hours of fun with it, and then they'd slam it into something and break it. Because that's what I would have done. I'm not a big fan of die-cast, and I have a few die-cast in here, and I like the Hot Wheels die-cast. I'm not big on alternate. The only reason I did this one is because the tires and wheels. That is where I got my inspiration right out of the gate. And then I started looking, well, what? I didn't think I had anything at home that would really adapt to it real well. And I know from previous people that's posted their videos that the Impala is a good kit to low ride, to hot rod, tub out, you know, all that stuff. Same as the 67. I've got a 67, and I'm going to Pro Tour it. Either that or Pro Street it. I might Pro Street it. Maybe a Pro Stock. I don't know. But they're very good, and they give you, there's a lot of room in the back end area to fit big tires without massive modification. Now this one did have, I would call, not massive, but very medium, because I did restructure the whole frame. You can see it angles in. There's a brace bar going there. We still gotta get that dog link glued down. You know, the cradle runs in underneath, comes up. We got our cross member going across here, and then everything that was be stock has been modified to fit into it to play the part. And then we added a different diff that has the brackets for the coilovers, and we used the kit's dog link to put on there to keep that rear end from shuffling sideways. And then we highlighted the frame by making it glossier. It's more like a satin, and well, this is more matte and this is satin. It's not really high gloss, but it's gloss. You know what I'm saying? So when you turn it over and you're looking at the detail, it's highlighted, so you can see the difference between the frame and the floor pan. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So, you know, again, guys, along the way, you know, we're at the point now where what we'll do is I'll get this corrected real quick. That way this can all dry overnight. And then I will, when that's done, I'll get my decals on, and then I'll get it clear coated. And hopefully the clear coat lays real nice. We have no issues from here on out. Then the final assembly is going to be quick. I mean, we got a radiator and a engine to put in there, and a couple of little things. Like I said, I'll do all that off camera. So when this video comes out, at the end of this video, that's why I say watch the whole video, you'll see the final on it as well. So one lengthy video. I don't know how long it'll be, but take breaks if you got to, I understand, and watch the whole thing, because this will be it. There'll be no other videos after this. This is the one and only last video. And we got a little bit of goofiness going on up here, but we'll take care of that when we go to clear coat this. And the way I do that is I get a nice little clean toothpick. I guess I could show you this. I don't know if you guys can see it. Right there, a little chip of black right there. That would, for perfection, would screw this whole build up. So what I do is I take my toothpick and I come down there and I just take it along that edge, and all it is a little burr, because like I said, that tape should be secured in an air sealed container, and a little piece of gunk got stuck to it and it came out on it. We got it off, so we're golden. I don't have a real rough edge. I have a little edge, so I will have to take some 3000 and go down this, staying mainly on the black and the orange. I don't like to hit silver if I don't have to. And then, yeah, I mean, we got quite a bit to do, but we're going to do it off camera and not in stages. So I'm going to do it, and then I'll come back and you guys will see the final reveal on this thing. Maybe I'll do it where I can't do that, because then it has to have time to dry. So it'll be the final presentation of this. I'm happy that this all worked out great. Really amazed. Usually I screw it up like anybody else would do and have to redo it. And I'm glad it's just one little isolated area, because last time it was here it was down here, and then the real bad spot back here that we did get, it was 10 times worse than this. It was horrid. And we had a spot up here. It was just absolutely a nightmare. And I was just going to go ahead and finish it and call it, just a flub. But then I was like, nope, I paid $30 for that model. There's no way I'm going to leave that the way it is. We're going to fix it. And we will adjust our frame, like I said before, where you can see it hanging down by the bottom here, and you can't back here. Now, once the interior's in it, that does make a different call. It may push this all down a little bit and balance out okay. We have not got that far yet. But so far, I am thrilled with this. It looks great. That silver laid nice. I think I got one little speck in it somewhere. I think it's up on the roof, right there. See it where my finger, right in front of my finger. That's it. That's all we got in the silver. Well, and there's one right here. So, for an entire paint job, and it to come out that good, hey, we're calling that a win. Because a lot of people have a problem with black. I have a problem with silver. It always fights me. This is the first time I've done, well, this and the Mustang, the Pro Street Mustang, that is the first two paint jobs I laid silver that I've done. It's really, I'm not flawless, but almost flawless. This, I think I can lightly maybe get out. I don't know. I think I'll probably test on the hood, because I saw, I got one little speck in two little specks in the hood. I'll try it on the hood first. If it kind of tarnishes the silver, I'll just respray the hood when I spray this whole area up here, and then we'll just leave it. I don't want to mess the paint up at this point. We're almost done with this bad boy, and this is one. I've got a nice little corner cleaned out now, guys, from these 3 Corvettes and this, and now that the Ring Brothers Chargers is over here, but I'm glad, and I'm very grateful to you, grateful to the man above, even though I get a potty mouth from time to time. He's watching over me, because he definitely controlled me on this one, where I was full matter, or full whatever, Mad Hatter, there it is, tilt, ready to blow up. My good friend Will, he called me last night, talked me off the edge a little bit. Ernest has talked me off the edge a little bit. Getting ready to call my buddy Norman, and we'll see you guys on the final. Thanks for tuning in. This is Rusty Rudder. I'm out. Okay, boys and girls, we're getting closer and closer to the end. This is just the segue into the final reveal of the Chip Foose 1965 Chevy Impala SS Protouring. Now, you can see from the beginning of this video, I threw in a little how-to, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. This is going to just be my time to, I guess, give my segue away from YouTube. I've got tons of feedback, positive, which really tears me from, leaving YouTube. But, if I'm nothing more, I'm a man of my word. I know a lot of people don't like me. And hey, that's just the way it goes. There's, jealous people. There's just haters. There's people that can't, come to grips and, just be your own person, be your own modeler, do your own thing. And, I should follow a lot of that advice. But there's, a lot of things that just, I guess, kind of rub me the wrong way. I never expected anything. I hoped for a lot. I did get a lot. I've learned a lot, which is, also part of it. So, I want to thank each and every one of you that's taken the time to watch my videos, whether it's from the beginning to the end, halfway through, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes of the video. whatever it may be. And maybe you come back and you finish watching it, which is what I've always recommended. I'm sorry that I'm leaving. And it's mainly just this channel. I'll leave this channel up. So if you guys ever want to go back and throw comments in or, check in with me, my phone always gets notified when somebody leaves a comment, so I can check in and see those, and I'll reply back. Other ways, you can find me on Instagram, every once in a while on Facebook, but you're more than welcome to go to Facebook and send me a friend request, or send me a direct message on there, so that way I know who it is. That way I'll accept, because I'm finicky on Facebook on who I accept and who I don't. Instagram, same way. Just kind of message me if you can. I don't know how all that works. I don't think my account's private, so it's pretty much, you could probably go in there and leave a message and then send me a friend request, and I'll accept it. Always my emails are in my descriptions, so you can send me an email that way too. For everybody I've talked to, communicated with on here, whether it be one of those outlets or, the old hello, stay in touch, and I'll keep in touch with everybody that I know that on that level as much as I physically can. It's been fun. It's been not fun. It's been mentally challenging. I've learned. I learned a little bit more to see how people really are. And I'm not downing everybody here on the modeling community. So let's make that clear right out of the gate. But there is a lot of individuals, and I don't care. They're two-faced. They're stingy. I mean, what other terms can I be? I can't be super nice about this, guys and gals. There's people that are more worried about their whatchamacallits. Come to me here in a second. They're more worried about the inner circles they're in than as a whole. I've never, ever, as God is my witness, and those people that truly know me, have I ever denied anybody some kind of help if they've asked for it. I've never once been rude to somebody, negative in any way. I've always tried to give my best opinion, help somebody however I can, even if there's 50 other people said the same thing I've said. I'm just, putting my 2 cents in there, and maybe, well, I don't know these guys, but I've heard of this guy, which being me, and I'm going to run with that. I've only wanted to help, promote, and showcase what I do. I'm nobody. I know a lot of people think I'm this excellent modeler. I'm not. Everything I do is flawed. Even my show-winning models, there's flaws on them somewhere. I don't think anybody could, if they had to be 100% honest, knowing there was consequences to their answer, that they would not say that there's some kind of a flaw on their model. Some get very lucky. It's hidden. You don't see it, but they know it's there. And if anybody's like me, I know it's there. It bothers me. So you strive for perfection, and excellence. And at the end of the day, all we can hope for is that we gain experience. We hone our skills each time. We learn from our mistakes and not create them again. Sometimes I got to do that 2 or 3 times to get through to where I'm going. The rapport of the last few videos since I started this huge rant have been excellent. A couple little negative things, about 3. One really not so much, but still, if you read in between the lines, and all of you that do truly follow me and you followed me from the beginning, go back through and read the comments. You'll see on any and every video I've ever made, I've gone back and I've left a comment, and I've always been positive unless somebody's being negative to me. And even if it is negative, I try to be positive back. Karma. What comes around goes around. So for all of you that really got offended by what I said, I apologize. There's a lot of you. It offended a few people that I really kind of liked. And I still enjoy their channels. That's not going to deter me from watching what they do. I'm not that petty. But at the end of the day, guys and girls, the truth does hurt. So if somebody says something and it hurts your feelings, you might take a second look in the mirror. You might reapproach things a different way. You might give something a second thought before you say it, you do it, you promote it, and you own it. I'm not, I'm not been in the actual community that I just became aware of 8 years ago, almost 9, and I'm not no big, huge pillar. We got pillars like Charlie Mack. Unfortunately, Terry passed away. We had people like that. Chevy Cheeseburger, Dr. Cranky. All these guys are the ones that I had watched when I wasn't building models. That just kept inspiring me to someday get back into it, and all these great techniques and all these great products that are out there. That makes the modeling community as a whole a good place. It's just a few within there that really don't understand what being part of a community is. But there is a lot out there that do. And, I tip my hat to all of you. Look at this crazy hair. Anyways, so I just want to, I don't know, just, say my mind, say my piece, and kind of leave quietly. I've had a few bad comments. YouTube is not the place for you. You need to go. Well, it's not for you to fucking decide. You're nobody just like me. So I can do what I want. I can stay on here. People can continue watching my videos when I make them, or they won't. That's the power of YouTube. That's the great thing about it, is that everybody has a choice, and everybody has an opinion. That doesn't mean I'm going to like it. You're going to like mine. So be it. But you know what? When we have people that are really trying to adapt to what we do and come in and start, whether they're in their 60s or 70s and they're starting off as a beginner, or they're 17, 18, or 8, 9 years old starting off as beginners. When they come on and maybe they watch this with their parents, or they're sneaking in the bedroom watching YouTube videos and their parents don't know, you have to understand, if you love the thought of building a model, or you've built some and you just love it and you're just going at it, I don't think anybody could say it better than Round 2. They've got a commercial that's running around now on the radio and everything else about the passion in building a model car, the things that it teaches you, hand-eye coordination, how to use tools properly and safely, how to take something and turn it, well, they don't say this, but turn it into a piece of art. Because at the end of the day, guys, that's what it is. Whether it's a priceless piece of art or, they're all priceless to me, but even in other people's eyes, it's a piece of art. How did that person do that to that little tiny little thing? How can they see that I don't have? Everybody has got the skill to build a model car. Patience is a virtue. You learn patience by building a model car. You learn how to unwind your brain from everything in your life that's causing you pain, anguish, whatever it may be. Building a model car can take you away from all that for however long you sit down and work on it, each and every time. It is a great fundamental tool for anybody who struggles with ADHD, autism, depression, anxiety. I've seen people are all over the place, and then they sit down and work on a model car, and they're just as focused and steady. The hobby is what you make of it. And I've always wanted to make it a better thing. So condemn me all you want for what I say, because at nighttime when I go night-night, I sleep with a clear conscience. I don't hold grudges. It's just as simple. If you got a problem with me, and I've really offended you that bad that as a grown man you can't just be calm and collective and say, hey, what makes you think that way or feel that way, without running your mouth and making, minor threats to severe threats, because I've gotten some in my emails. I've said it a million times where I live. I'll be glad to stand toe-to-toe with you and solve it. We can solve it via communication back and forth, hopefully, because I don't like to leave anything unresolved. But it's just as simple. I build model cars for my own sanctity. That's it. I did get wrapped up in the whole YouTube mess and crap. Sponsors is the word I was looking for. Sponsors are great. Especially if you're somebody like me that you don't have a lot of extra income. I mean, I've got income. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a broke bitch. I'm not poor. I'm not rich either. But whether you get to the age and you retire and you realize you're on a fixed income living off your retirement or your 401k or whatever it may be, and your wife gets to that point where she's getting close to it too, you start worrying about other things, like not buying somebody's whole collection or spending $300 or $400 every time you go to the hobby shop. I worry about the $300 or $400 that I could have that I may need to buy some special medicine because the doctor says, hey, now you've got this and you need this. I got to look towards my future, as each and every one of you do. So the balling on the budget is key. Save your money for the things that you can't really penny pinch. The great tools, because I've said it a million times, the more expensive tools are better. They'll probably last longer. But when you've got, let's say you have $100 and your wife says, hey, $100, you can go get whatever you need. By the time you go buy a model and you buy a good pair of snippers, and to give you an example, these are Snap-on. These were over $100. So, you might as well take that out of the equation right away. But, you go buy a decent little pair of snips that may cost you, I don't know, I think these are like, I don't know, $5 or $6 or something like that. These work great. I've had these for 8 years. Now, they got little burrs in them and nicks, but they still cut plastic really good. And if you're keen with tools and you got files, you can sharpen these back and get many, many more years out of them. So it's how you take care of the tool, how long it'll last. Or you can just go throw money at it to be like all these guys you see on here that, a sponsor gave them these or whatever it may be. You don't need this to make you a better modeler. I heard a phrase one time when I was becoming a mechanic, and I got wrapped up in it. I was like, I got to get this big, huge toolbox and all these fancy tools. And this old guy that was probably maybe 2-3 years away from retirement came up to me and said, hey, young man, he said, I'm going to give you one piece of advice. He said, I hope it sticks with you and it sinks in and you think about it every time. He said, the toolbox doesn't make the mechanic. The tools don't make the mechanic. Up here makes the mechanic. Using your brain. Think about what you do, how you got to do it. Research. Knowledge is key. And if you apply that to every step of your life, not just being a mechanic, you'll go far. here, what, 40 years later, that still haunts me. And it affects me in all my decision making. Okay, yeah, I could run out and spend thousands of dollars and buy all the Tamiya brand tools, or even Snap-on, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make me a better modeler because I have all that. Because I buy Tropical Glitz paint does not make me a better painter. Not a damn thing I've bought in this shop, or I've done to this shop, makes me a better modeler. It makes it easier to become one. But how I do it and what I do is what makes me a modeler. And the reasonings why I do it. All those make you a better modeler. So if there's nothing else I can do on this channel you just won't see any videos other than the few that I've disclosed that I will. The Ring Brothers Charger and the diorama, which is sitting right back up there above that little black box right there you see. And it's because it weighed on me. I talked to my wife about it, and I prayed about it, and I talked to friends about it. And it's just, there's so much involvement in those, not just the Ring Brothers Charger, but mainly the diorama, that I feel deep in my heart that I owe it to you all that have followed and commented on everything, and that sent stuff for it. I owe that as gratitude for you guys tuning in. And who knows, maybe one day, maybe a year, 6 months down the road, I might start up making videos again. But as of right now, no. I've mentioned the podcast. It's more like what you see other guys doing on a live, and we'll bring said items in on that. I'm not going super fancy and I just don't have the money to do it for one. Set up a super fancy podcast, all this equipment and all that just for, nobody's going to come to Kentucky to my house, and other than a few people that do every year, Mr. William at Ruckus Rods and Customs, I'm not always here, unfortunately. The past couple of years, I've not been able to sit down with him, but this year, I've already made the arrangements with my wife that I'm going to be here, so when he comes into town, I get to sit down with him. Big Will. You haven't seen him in a long time on YouTube. He comes over, I talk to him quite often. And a few others. And unfortunately, my good friend Jay, that's, I just have to pray and hope he hears me and, gives me a sign, because, I do. It hurts. Let me gain my composure. I guess what I'm saying is, there's somebody that was on YouTube. And not everybody, you don't get to know everybody on a personal level. That's part of it. But he made videos, and he had subscribers, and they left all these great comments. And then I made the announcement, and I thought, hopefully, people will go, oh, wow, whatever, a member passed away, at least give a few seconds of knowledge. That doesn't mean you as, subscribers to the channel can make a video. I think everybody understands that. That's not what I was looking for. But I do appreciate all the nice words and comments you said about Jay. I was just looking for a little bit more notoriety on his behalf, of acknowledgement that he existed instead of nothing. And especially by some key people that I knew that knew him. From one thing or another, whether it be from one of his dioramas, a model show, or YouTube, or Instagram, that would have said a little something. That's why I said in the beginning, I'm going to do the tribute build to him, but that was just me. I'm not hosting one. I didn't expect everybody to jump in on that bandwagon and build a tribute build for him and post their work. That would have been nice. I don't expect that. And it just made me really think and realize, well, hell, I could die tonight, tomorrow, a week from now. And I kind of, I down myself. I don't, lift myself up to be this because, at the end of the day, really, all I got is what's around me here and who comes in and out of my house to, support me. Other than a few close friends that I've made on here and Instagram and everything else that kind of helped me through it. It just hit me harder than it probably would have. I don't know how else to explain it. But I truly do appreciate all the kind words about Jay. The condolences have been very nice, very thoughtful. I don't hold any resentment to anybody that they didn't, that just watch us, that make, say something. You didn't really have to do that. But it was very nice. But I'm talking a little deeper. People that are in this community that were aware of Jay. They may not have known him on a personal level, but may have talked to him at a show or made a comment on his channel at one time or another. And my word doesn't get out there as far as others. And that's why you've always heard me say, guys, watch the video, subscribe, like, share the video. That gets the word across further than what, here on YouTube than what it would normally do. Plus, that helps build my channel. It makes my channel a little bit more popular, that more people that would normally wouldn't see it would get to see it. And hopefully bring in some subscribers, some more communication. All that is key to each individual that starts up a YouTube channel. Whether you stay unmonetized or you become monetized, or you have, sponsors or, commercials sponsor your channel and you get paid promotion from that. I never really was interested in all that. Now, if you want to look down at the brass tacks of it all, would that help? Yeah, it probably would. I mean, since I did lose sponsors, just from really stupid things, if you think about it. But it generates things. And then every time I tried to create something or do something, it got no really interest other than from a couple people. And, that was great in itself, but it's not enough to think about it. I mean, if you know anybody that's been on YouTube and they are very successful, not modeling or anything else, one of their number one things, well, the top two things that really pay them, not only what YouTube gives them, is what sponsors give them and their paid promotions. And then what they do themselves, that would be merchandise, hats, t-shirts, cups, mugs, whatever it may be. And they sell it, and that generates income in them, so they can keep doing those great big things. Because, I mean, hell, guys, they're talking, they drop thousands of dollars a day to make a video. And, I'm just a little modeler. I was never looking for that. I was just looking for enough to generate new content, keep my supplies flowing for however long I decided to do this. And, it never panned out. So, I just learned, some guys can do it, some guys can't. I hold no ill will towards that. So just know that, as one human being and a grown man, to everybody out there that does watch my videos, I appreciate you for the quick comment, the thumbs up, an email, phone call, whatever it is. I truly appreciate that. But I guess my worst habit is it's hard for me to let go of something. And I guess it'd probably be a little resentment based, if I was to be honest. I don't harbor that forever, because I'm pretty good at jumping back and moving on. Because really, at the end of the day, this is just a hobby. This doesn't affect my life. The loss of a friend, that affects my life. But this, if everybody unsubscribed to me and nobody ever left a comment ever again, that truly doesn't affect my life. that it just affects, me putting any more content on here. So I hope everybody can understand that, and I hope from my first video to the present video, and then the last video we got coming, that you gained a little knowledge from me somehow, some way. I inspired you somehow, some way, and maybe brought somebody that wasn't a modeler to where they're a modeler now, and they really enjoy the hobby. YouTube is a great tool. It's a great learning spot. You get to see all these fantastic people. I'm talking some of the fantastic modelers. There's a lot of them here in the United States. There's a lot in, our Asian countries, our European countries, Australia, Europe, all over the globe. There's fantastic modelers that are a million times better than me and do stuff that blow my mind. And, it's not things that I haven't ever thought of, but it's like, how do I go about doing it? Well, that's watching them do it gives me the creative juices to actually attempt it. And then I keep doing it until I at least get it to a semblance of that, or resemblance of that. And that hones my skills. So where I say YouTube is a tool, that's what it's for. All this promotion of, people having sponsors and what they push and try to get you to go to a link and buy something, that's just part of the business end of it. With a sponsor is, the sponsor wants to make money. Let Mark Hobby Not Models. Prime example. That is an individual. That is his job. That is his passion, his career. And if he's going to take the time to send you free stuff and, set up a certain link for you, that way your followers can use that link to go purchase something, and it tracks it so he knows what you're generating for him, and he'll either send you more, he'll send you less, or, he calls it quits. In my case, called it quits because it wasn't lucrative enough for what he was sending out to what he was receiving. That's business. That is acceptable and understandable by me on every level. Does it suck? Well, yeah, it sucks because it was nice. I wasn't getting a lot, but I was getting some things, and it really helped me get things going and make plans and come up with ideas for certain things, which you guys have seen a lot of. So, there's probably a 4-hour conversation I could have with what basically killed my channel. A lot of talking, the lack of 100% dedication and devotion to just building, constantly making videos, and that's a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation. I've had people damn me for making too many videos, and people damn me for not making enough. And when I just try to get that happy balance, and it still is not enough. Nothing is ever going to be enough. You can have every sponsor that is available to at your resources and your fingertips for this hobby, and somebody's always going to be a critic that it's too much, it's not enough, or you could do this or you could do that. Again, those are all tools. Paints, sanding sticks, airbrushes, glues, nippers, tweezers, it don't matter. Glue applicators. All that can make you a better modeler, but you got to learn how to use that tool. And that takes this. And being able to pay attention and will yourself to master at whatever level you can to achieve it. You can't just pick up, unless you're just gifted, pick up a pair of nippers and know exactly how to cut that piece off the sprue, and where you have very little cleanup. And well, how do you clean it up if it's chrome? And what do you do? Because now it's not. A lot of guys will strip their chrome completely, sand everything down smooth, prime it, paint it, and then chrome it. When I say paint it, put a gloss black base coat on it, and then use whatever chrome product that they like the best. There's a zillion little roads that go down every little thing. Perfect example. This is not the best. I still like the metallizers, which they're kind of hard to find and they're very expensive if you can find them. But here we got a bottle of Vallejo metal colors. These work fantastic. If you're very smart with them, and practice makes perfect, you will learn. But when I talk about all these zillion little roads, well, example, how do I keep this thing from getting all messed up? It doesn't come out of there very good. Well, the best thing about these, here's a pro tip. These are acrylic paints. So when this paint dries, you can use a dull X-Acto knife or a toothpick, and you can pick all this out here, take a few minutes, clean it up. You can take the lid off of it, go soak it in some hot soapy water, some acrylic thinner, or just lacquer thinner, and take a toothbrush and scrub it all off. You can be mindful when you're done, wipe the bottle off immediately, clean it up. You know, there's a zillion little roads. So, maintenance on taking care of your bottle. How often should you shake your paint? Can I thin this to airbrush it? Can I do... This is airbrush ready. You don't really have to thin it. That's true to every little thing you do. And you will find somebody promoting a tool and say, well, I've saved my pennies now. You know, I followed Rusty's advice. I'm falling on a budget, but I really like this, and I've researched it, and I want to get this. And that's your prerogative to do so. And that tool actually helps you way better than you ever thought it would. That's what it's about, guys and gals. You got to find what works for you. But don't just throw money at everything and expect it's going to you're going to throw out a showpiece model because you bought the most expensive stuff. I know guys that do crap. I know guys that still brush paint testers enamels on their model, sand it down. They lay it on so thick and globby it looks nasty. And then they sand it down. They get that thing as slick as glass. And then they clear coat it. And it looks amazing. You can never tell that it was brush painted. Because at one time, we had to do it that way. There wasn't the airbrushing. There wasn't the all this other stuff. How would you achieve a great paint job way back then? You know, there's a 6-7-year-old little kid. Well, if you had enough sense and you knew somebody maybe that maybe did body work or something like that, they would show you techniques, because on a real car would be no different than doing it on a model. You just got to be a little more mindful because you're working with a piece of plastic versus a whole metal car, of how to sand that down, what sandpapers to use to get that paint smooth. And you may find yourself having to go back, put a couple more coats on it, and then let it dry, and come back and sand it down, get it all blended in and smoothed out, and then clear coat it. There's guys that are fantastic at decals, that 4 and 5 layers of decals, and by the time they're done, it's all one smooth layer. It's all talent. It's all, you know, everybody has something they're really good at. Mine, I'm really good at detailing the engine compartment. It's just because that's the mechanic side of me that knows, well, hey, I could do this, so I'm going to try to replicate it. And then you've done it so many times, and now it's really nothing. There's guys that are just great at CAD design, that design all these great 3D printed parts that everybody buys these files up and then goes and sells them. My true belief in somebody, as far as the 3D world goes, if you know CAD design and you're designing your own stuff and you're printing your own stuff and you're putting it together and you're painting it, you're so far ahead of the game, it's not even funny. Understanding all the complexities of a 3D printer, that's a whole nother demon in itself. The CNC machines, you see these guys lathing these beautiful wheels and other little parts out of aluminum, copper, and brass, and you're putting them on your slot cars, and they look so. And then now we've adapted that to the modeling. You know, those tires and wheels that were for a slot car, now we're adapting them to model cars, because who wouldn't want a real set of aluminum wheels on their little hot rod they built? All that, and anything and everything can be integrated into the hobby. It's how much time are you willing to give it to learn the curve, master the curve enough to be able to accomplish it. So that's pretty much it. You know, it's a 37-minute not rant, but sharing little things, my heartfelt feelings, some hard truth, but that is what it is. And I wish everybody the best here on YouTube for all the success they can get, whether they have 5 subs or they have 5 million subs. It's all part of it, but it's, what as you as an individual are willing to accept. Me, my time is priceless. I have 3 beautiful grandchildren. I have 3 beautiful children. At least that's all I'm aware of. There was some sketchy time back in the early 80s. All jokes aside, there is things that are more important to me than model cars. As much as I can't wait to get down here and build something and then share it with you guys, I'm going to miss that the most. But I do have another outlet, that is Instagram. I advise each and every one of you. Some of you hate Instagram. You don't want an Instagram account. You'll never have an Instagram account. I understand that. But all I can do is ensure you or entice you. I'm not always best with words, which you probably have noticed over the years. Go follow me on Instagram. You'll still get to see my work when I do post it. I'm not going to be 100% active on there to make up for what I'm not doing on here. And over the next few months, I don't know how long, I will definitely try to work on maybe that podcast, maybe not. You may just see me come back on here from time to time and post a video. But I do want to thank every one of what I consider the OGs on YouTube for their guidance, their knowledge, their acceptance of me into at that time was really great community, and it's still good. It's just getting kind of bad, and a lot of people aren't recognizing the bad. They just think it's part of the norm and it's part of the evolution, and it's not. This hobby's been here longer than most of us that are in it right now, and the generations that started it are long gone. And the ones that may be still around they're fading out. I mean, it's just part of actual life. So be mindful of that and take a second. Like I always told my kids, before you open your mouth, think about what you're getting ready to say, because what you say can affect a lot of people. It can affect the outcome of something that could be positive and turn it into a complete negative, and put you in a bad situation. So you got to be mindful of, consequences for your actions. I'm always mindful. I don't ever say something and regret saying it. Sometimes, but I'm always willing to back up what I say. And, if that makes me a good person, it makes me a bad person. I don't really know. But I do appreciate all of you guys, and I've said enough. So let's get to the final reveal. The last video will be the tribute build. It is done. I can say that. And we'll just do a video on that. There won't be any of this on there. Just be, hey, this is the final reveal. We'll videotape it for 15-20 minutes, and that'll be it for Old Rusty Rotor. I also want to take a second to show you guys when I say hard work and determination. And even though Jimmy Ledford is kind of in the same boat as I am, and he's personally struggling on what if he's going to leave or if he's going to stay, those are his decisions to make. I hope he sticks around, because that really is this is the only platform I get to see his work. Other than I can call him and he can send me pictures, which is that'll suffice for me. He sent me this just to use the windshield and have the kit to do what I wanted. And when I saw in there it was a paint job somebody had done, he didn't do it, because I asked him and he said, no, I didn't do that. The paint job was horrible, but it happens to everybody. You get crazy and you get cracking, but the color just immediately caught my eye. And I'm like, I wonder if I could save that paint job. Is there something I can do to that? I've screwed up paint jobs like that and it's looked like that, and they're sitting up here, guys. The one we're getting ready to see was one of those. And it's true. This was crazed so bad that really it probably would have to be in the purple pond or whatever chemical you use to strip it, and start all over. But to me, that's a lot of work. So I have limited time. What can I do to try and save it? Well, we can at least go through the process of all the sanding things. We started with 600. Luckily, the gentleman or lady, whoever painted this, put a lot of paint on it, which worked out in my favor. I started with 600 and I worked all the way up to 12,000. And there she is, guys. The crazing and the cracking is gone. Now, I could take it a step further and wet sand all this down and polish it out. And I might. I don't know. I probably put maybe a half a day into it. Just nothing but sanding. Rinsing it off, sanding it, rinsing it, sanding it, wiping it down. To where I thought, well, okay, it's ready for clear coat. Let's get the first coat of clear coat on it and see what it does. Laid the clear coat really smooth. Is there orange peel in it? Yeah, there's a little bit. You can see kind of right there. If this was going to a show, then I would definitely be wet sanding this all down, trying to get it, at least on this flat surfaces, as smooth as I could get it. So that's not really visible. Because in a show, everybody knows, if you've been to one, there's a lot of light. Some places are not lit that well, which works in your favor. But now I got a great body. Okay, and that's what I do. That caught my eye. I put the work in. I saved the paint job. Got some clear on it now to where I can work with it. There's 4 coats of clear on it, so I can really polish it out if I need to. Now my next step is, you know me, I don't like to just use stock tires and wheels if I don't have to. Unless it really caught my eye to use them, then I'll use them. But, you know, thanks to one of my awesome sponsors, Ryan Jones at Z-Force Model Works. Brother, if you're watching this, I thank you for everything you sent, for the friendship, all the knowledge that you shared with me on 3D printing, everything. I hold it all dear to my heart. These are just a few of the sets, but I was looking through them and like, what really caught my eye? So this is one set. It doesn't have the name on these ones. I don't know why. Maybe this is just a set I bought, which is very possible. I bought a lot of set of wheels from him before he became my sponsor, or one of my sponsors. So I'm assuming that this is a set that was one of those. But these would look really good on them. Do we want to go old school from the era that this car existed? Generic slot mags, 15 by 6 and 15 by 14s. Positive traction, torque, twist tires, size for 6 to 14 inch rims, sold in pairs to be built custom. Comes available at Iceman Collections. So Iceman produces these. These are the old slot wheels. Decent size. Give that more of that hot rod. You know, you're taking to the drag strip. You got a smaller tire in the front. Maybe you got enough horsepower. You're tweaking a tire off the ground, launch, whatever. Great old school. And those kind of caught my eye. A nice wide back tire too. Easy to adapt into a Corvette model because Corvettes have a natural flair to them that gives you a little more wheel well spacing to use a little oversized tire. And then I started looking. And I'm like, okay, these are fantastic. And these really, for the era of this car, caught my eye. So when I say I go shopping, this is what I do. I always pick 2 or 3 sets and then I ponder on them a while using this. And then I make the executive decision of what's going to look good on it. And this is right now the front winner. These are RADIR tri-rib 3s, 19 by 6 and 20 by 14. Deluxe radial white wall fronts, future release for VCG resins. He may offer an 18 by 6 front also. So, you know, wider. These really stand out, and these have the little knockoffs too. Now, his knockoffs are interchangeable, so I could use these knockoffs with these wheels and then put these in with these for a future date. These got the little checkerboard finish flags. It's going to be hard to see through that plastic. Maybe we'll get one of these out here real quick. This video is super long. The whole video is going to be very long, so I don't expect you to watch it at one time. Maybe you will. Thank you. But watch the whole thing. Whatever route you can get at. The front tires are just treaded. See that? There you go. Again, a 6-inch wide tire. They're a 2-piece wheel. You have your main wheel, and then you have your beauty ring, trim ring, hoop, whatever you want to call it. That goes in that. Again, when Ryan sends me stuff, he never sands the inside of them. So I go back through and I sand them down smooth, and then I prime them and I paint them. But I really like these knockoffs. So if you can see those, they're actually open. You're talking about fine detail. You got to be very careful putting these in. You break one off, and then you're done. But the back tires really, I mean, look at that detail. Get it to focus. You can kind of see them there. There you go. The little checkerboard flags, and a white wall. There's a lip around here that you could do a white wall. What's the thing? Here's the white wall. It's a separate piece, so it's easy to paint. You just stick it on something, airbrush it, and you got your white wall. That slides up over your wheel, and then slides down in there, and a little dab of glue with a toothpick, and you got your white wall in there. But these are more of a hot rod tire. Give me a second here, guys. And see, we into the abyss. There we go. These more are of a hot rod, and I got a model already picked out I want to use these on. So there's your final look of it. I know we did a video on these, but they deserve a little bit more. And my decision is probably going to be these right here. I'll hand paint them as I always do. Give them a multicolor, whether they're all black and then chrome sleeves or all murdered out. I don't know. But can't get it up in there. Here. We've already burned enough time. Let's just go ahead and burn a few more minutes. I know the anticipation on the Impala is killing people. Sorry for the delay before the reveal, but some things just got to be done. So if we look at that, the stance we're going for is, well, get it here where it needs to be. I always like to set that lip of that wheel. If I'm going to lower it to the top of the fender well there, I'm just not good at doing this. Other guys are really good about putting that stuff in there, but we got a nice big tire to fill the wheel well. Nice wide tire for the stance. Little protouring look. Definitely going to be resto mod. Same 3-prong knockoff can go in that. This is a 1-piece wheel. Oh no, I'm sorry, it is a 2-piece wheel. Deep sleeve. Ryan knows I just love deep well tires and wheels. They just make the car look so good. So, what will we do this? Maybe with this, maybe these need a gold wheel or a bronze wheel. Bronze would be really good. Do we want to put any decals on here to highlight it? I don't know. We will see. But these are the ones that I picked. I just wanted to show you the 3 choices that I kind of narrowed it down to. You guys might see this down the road. I'll post it on Instagram, or maybe if I make a quick video here on YouTube. I doubt it, but we might. But it just shows you a little imagination, perseverance, a lot of persuasion sometimes. You can really achieve whatever you put your mind to. And I don't hold myself higher than anybody else. And I don't look at anybody being better than me. But there is people that are better modelers than me. Maybe they have more experience. They just have more time on their hands. They just have a natural talent for it. It's kind of all those involved. So, but again, I wanted you guys to see that. That turned out so nice with just a little effort. That, and now if I just take a little effort and a little hard work a little further, this is going to be a beautiful model. And it's going to look nice sitting next to the blue one, the orange one, and the green one. Now we got basically, I don't know what color that is, but it's a beautiful red. I've got an idea for a white one. Definitely a black one. And a few other colors. Remember, guys, I got 4 more of these to build. So, we got a red one, a white one, and a black one. That takes care of 3. So that 4th one, that's going to be probably a crazy idea. I don't know. But anyways, without further ado, I'm going to hold it here, and we're going to take a look at its side, and then we'll take a look at everything else real quick. Protouring Impala is done. It turned out really nice. It's flawed several places, but overall is a nice build. It didn't turn out where I had to throw it away or throw it back in the box again. When you modify something, you really got to think it all the way through, because what you change may affect something down the road, and this is a great example of that. But overall, nice shine. I don't know, I may take this a step further and wet sand it down. We did use bare metal foil for all the trim. I hate using bare metal foil. I never think it looks as good as everybody else's, but it plays the part, and that's all that matters. It went on easy on this one, which really surprised me, but that also means that I've had a lot of practice over the years. I've got some flaws in the bare metal foil. I'll point out one right here. I had one lap up on me. Don't know how that happened, but it did, and that kind of sucks. But because I always put it on, then clear coat over top of it, that kind of protects it. I got a dab of glue on my windshield, putting the wipers on when I was done. I was luckily able to sand it out and polish it out a little bit. I still got you can see a little hazing right here. A little more polishing to do to get it back to where it needs to be, and then I'll seal it. I'll use wax and put a coat of wax on it. That'll help. I hand painted the emblem in the front because I did not have a decal for that. As you can see, the bumper work, the decals are in place. I am going to come back with some amber clear paint and paint over these lenses. I don't like the decal behind them. It doesn't look the part to me, so we'll paint those before I put it away. And then we may revisit this down the road to, polish it out and get what little bit. There's not a lot. A little bit of orange peel in there out. Overall, it laid pretty nice. As you can see, those are Maisto, whatever you want to call them, tires and wheels and brakes. We got them to fit up underneath there. That is a true Protouring look of what a Protouring car would look like. Everything underneath the hood. Protouring, the engine does not stick through the hood. Pro Mod, you ain't got no choice, but it sticks through the hood. A Protouring, you can get everything sits underneath the hood. Kind of a sleeper mode. Our custom exhaust, our tips there, one, and then I just knocked the mirror off that quick. And then the other one's sticking out there. Those are made out of aluminum too and polished. Our custom tag decals, we painted the taillights like they're supposed to be. That pinstripe runs all the way across. And back down the other side. As you can see, there's the other side. We've got our little decals. I'm going to hold this gently and we'll take a look underneath. We custom did the exhaust. That exhaust is, each side is 3 pieces. I cut up the original exhaust and glued it back because my dumbass put the differential back in it before I put the tubes back in it to go up over top of the diff. But we got it to work and fit right back in where they needed to go with no problem. You can see one little touch up there, the difference in paint. We got to come back over with a satin clear coat to make that blend in better, but that's pretty easily handled. Our oil pan, we got some nut and bolt detail there painted. Our exhaust is mated up where it needs to be. And it looks good. We straightened our frame back out. So it does hang out a little bit in the front, but not horrible. Not as much as it does in the back, as you can see there going across it. Panel line washed all the door seams, the hood, the cowl up here in the front, across the trunk. But overall, great looking. We'll get the hood off here. Use the kit engine. Nothing fantastic in here. Just some decals that came with it. Really helps dress it up a little bit. All of our lines, hoses are all hooked up that came with the kit. Detail painted down there are air conditioning condenser. We filled the overflow bottle with I don't know, it's a fluorescent green paint, so it looks like washer or antifreeze. Got our master cylinder in there. Wiper blade arms are on. And like I said, I just knocked this little mirror off, so I have to put that back on. That's why I don't like using mirrors unless they're one piece. These little two-piece things are finicky and they'll fight you. We did go ahead and decide to put the antenna on it. And yeah, I mean, good looking model. You guys, as always, can let me know down in the comments what you think. The overall stance of it. You can see we'll get down here low. Really good. You look in the back. Got some big wide tires in the back. You pull up behind this car and you can see that. You're like, oh boy, yeah, he's got something. And in this case, remember the storyline. He spent all this money on the custom paint, tires and wheels. The brakes are all upgraded. The frame, 4-link suspension. The interior is all custom. The engine is built, but it's not the final step for the Pro Touring car, which is a 1,400 horsepower fuel injected monster that'll go in there. Maybe a twin turbo engine, whatever. But that's his last step to complete his build. And, you know, he can still take it out cruising on the weekends. Our interior is highly detailed. I don't know if it's going to focus in there or not for you guys to see. Maybe we can... Oop, going the wrong way. Maybe now we can get it to... There you go. A little bit better. All the detail painted. Masto seats. The roll cage. They're all from that die cast car. A lot of 3D printed parts added here and there. Little ones. Nothing major. Just here and there. We do have the dome light. The headliner's painted. Sun visors. You can see the seam. I left that on there because the roll bar is wrapped in leather, so it looks like that's the stitch seam. We didn't put seat belts in this one, which I probably should have, but oh well. Nice looking there. Black dash, black package tray. The saddle color interior. Just good looking model. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. If you're happy with it, you're not building for show. It was never built for show. I never designed it to be built for a show. It's just what it is. Just a nice, clean model. Has flaws, some more than I would like to have had, and that I like to admit to. We also put the actual door lock tumblers in it on both sides. That was the last two I have. I'm going to have to get a hold of MGSF and see if he'll send me some more. I'll have to buy them. It's not that I lost him as a sponsor, it's just he kind of fizzled out on his own after that last release, which was that Mustang right up there in the far right corner. Yeah, and again, give you guys a good look. All the models that I've built and I've shared with you guys. Some new, some old. Some that need a little bit more repairs on them. 132nd group build I got in a year or two ago. Focus. My group build for the model club there, the w.h.i.p. The other one I did, and there's the truck, that's a replica. The 3 Corvettes we just finished. A 1/8 scale Corvette that's going to get a whole lot of, well, it isn't now because my good friend Jay that passed he had all the parts for me to finish that, and now he's gone, and I'd say the parts are gone with him. So that kind of sucks for that, so I'll have to keep looking for the parts I need for that. But again, I'd rather have my buddy back, and you know, I really enjoyed talking with him. He just thought the same way as me on a lot of things, so it was really easy to be open and honest with him and talk to him and share ideas, and that's what this hobby's all about. So if you want to get on here on YouTube, I do suggest that, but get with people that are like-minded and that you can get a rapport going with them, and value that for what it is, and don't ever expect anything. You can hope and want all you want, because that's normal, but don't expect it. And I hope you the best. I hope for the best for you and everything you do. Again, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, every great once in a while, mainly when those 2 builds come back up. I'm going to, now that I'm done with the tribute build, I do have the Bronco to finish. I want to get that done before William comes in, so he gets to see that in person. And I'm going to be working on this Corvette. By the way, this is the Vet. Oh, it's upside down. I'm trying to hold that there so nothing falls out. That's the Vet. And I have everything to build it, other than windshield. I don't think I have a windshield. I'll have to scratch build a windshield since I use them for the other 3. Unless somebody out there wants to gift me 3 more windshields for a 68, 69 Corvette, 125th scale. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you need a few dollars for the shipping, I'll be glad to do that. So you can let me know. Send me an email, let me know. That'd be great. If not, I will use some, what do you call this stuff? Clear acetate, and I'll make the windows for these other 3 or 4, whatever I got to do. The one's a little newer body. I think it's like an 80 or 81 Corvette or something like late 70s, early 80s. I think that has the windshield for it. I'll have to double check. But either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed what I've done here over the past few years. I ain't been on here a long time. But again, I've appreciated everything. So from me, my family, from the Rusty Rotors Model Car Garage, I thank you, and I bid you farewell.